All right, guys, how's it going? It's Dundee preview time. We're a wee bit kind of off kilter this week. It's normally the kind of Friday or the Saturday ahead of the game, but due to a few technical issues, we're doing it today, a couple of hours before the match kicks off. So today we're joined by Kerr and Mark. How's it going?
I'm fine, Willie. I'm fine.
Yep. Good stuff, guys. Right, we're probably looking at about half an hour today, guys. We know we can't really get into too much detail kind of thing, but we'll just try and kind of run over some of the stuff that we do know. Dundee sitting bottom of the league, obviously not been a great season for them. The last 5 games, they've had 3 defeats and 2 draws under the kind of new management since McPake left. They've only scored 24 goals in their 30 league games, so they're not really known for scoring a hell of a lot of goals. Knowing that I've said that, it will probably end up 4-3 or something like that today, because that's usually my stats usually turn out to be great. But let's jump right into it. Also, I think the question that everybody's asking today, come to you first, Mark. Are you expecting some squad rotation for the first team just because of the amount of games we're playing?
I think so. I mean, over the last probably couple of weeks, 3, maybe 4 weeks, he's not really rotated a lot, and I think we're starting to look tired, especially when we're coming up against the low block. I think we're starting to look tired. I think that Aribo and possibly Lundstram are kind of struggling a wee bit. So I'm kind of hoping he's going to rotate. I think they're hoping they're going to rest a few of the boys. Who you bring in, that's the big question, isn't it? But I would like to see a bit of rotation. I think that there's a few of them needing a wee rest, definitely.
Well, here's one of the guys from earlier on. Phillips put his team in, so let's see what he's picked. McGregor, Sands, Golston, Helander, Bassey, Lowry, Kamara, Aribo, Sakala, Kent and Alfie. Probably not, but I think a few need a rest. Yeah, look, it sounds like Joe might be struggling going from what they said at the press conference. So that'll be interesting to see. I quite like the fact that, we could go with a back 3 potentially today and sort of use the wing backs. That could be something we could look at, depending on how the manager is going to set up. Clearly somebody like Helander probably needs some game time. Is this a good time to utilise Helander? James Sands obviously is one of those ones we've not really seen a hell of a lot of him recently, but he's obviously got that versatility care. Is that the sort of game, today that you could maybe fit him in as a centre back and a free? Or do you think we should just use him in midfield because we might be giving Lundstram and Aribo a rest?
I think it just depends really who we're resting. I think we have to rest players. I think Gio probably knows that himself, and let's see. James said, does he trust the rest of the squad players he has there? I think we need to see the likes. I think Alec Lowry should come back in. I think Aribo needs a rest. Yeah. I think hopefully Ramsey can get minutes. I think if Ramsey doesn't get minutes today, and I don't see him the rest of this season. We don't really see him anyway, but I don't see him the rest of this season. There's not many games left. I like to see the likes of McCann coming in, even Leon King, but I don't think he will, because I don't think he'll go that far. But I think having Golston will start. I think McLaughlin will play in goals. I think maybe rest Alan McGregor as well. But I'd like to see a good few range changes because we're fighting on 3 fronts here. I don't want to make the players blown out their arse come into a fortnight's time. Do you know what I mean? So I think some guys need minutes in their legs because they've not played a lot of football, but some guys have probably played too much. So this is the perfect opportunity to rest them.
Well, here's CGM. Obviously, he's always good for the comments. Get McLaughlin, Tav, Golston, Helander, Bassey. That was what I thought would be our 5 today, to boys, kind of goalkeeper and back 4. Interesting midfield and forward line. Sands, Kamara, Ramsey. I think we'd all like to see Aaron Ramsey starting the game, if possible, before he leaves. Jallo, who seems to be the kind of forgotten man recently. Sakala and Roofe.
It's actually decent, to be fair.
That front 3, it's obviously got a wee bit of pace about it with Sakala and Jallo. Do you think that would be a good asset to have today against Dundee?
I think so, yeah, definitely. It just is, obviously, it's going to be that low block again, and I don't know if there's enough fresh. I mean, obviously they're going to freshen it up, but I don't know whether. I think that he's maybe not going to drop Kent. So I would go with that. I mean, I don't think that's a million miles away for what would work. Surely it should work against Dundee, but as I say, you just don't know. But I think Ramsey, I can't see him starting. I can see he's not had any game time in the last couple of weeks. So I can't see him starting. I can see him maybe coming on the last 30 if he's fit, but I can't see him starting. So your boy Diallo maybe play the 10, maybe play a Rebo's role, possibly. But I think probably Kamara and Sands is maybe a good middle two holding. I think you maybe Sakala, Kent, and Roofe. I don't think it'll be a million miles away. I think if Balogun's fit, I think he goes in there. I think the same with Helander and Ramsey. I don't think they're fit enough to start. Maybe the last half hour to get him a wee run. But as I say, remember it's a cup tie. I mean, it's not like it's a gimme. So I think that I think you need to try and go with what you've got strength wise, as well as kind of a fine balance to try and balance that with trying to rest players as well. But no, it's not a million miles away from what I would think would start.
You're interesting, obviously, the first kind of couple of kind of guys that have put in their teams have got Alex Lowry in there.
Yeah.
Do you think this is the sort of game, Kerr, that Alex could come in and be that kind of creative spark? He's obviously got that ability to open teams up.
I don't see why not. Well, he's proved it with the first team he's played there, so he's not going to come in with any fear. He's going to come in and enjoy himself, and he's going to come in to prove a point. So I don't see why he shouldn't start, because we know what he can do. He knows what he can do. You obviously know what he can do because you watch him every week with the academy. And I know we think Dundee might play a low block, but it's a cup game. Will we really? Will they just come out and say, let's go for it? Because they're not to lose at the end of the day. You lose, you go out. It's not affecting the league position. So I think it could be goals in this game. Do you know what I mean? I think we should. Obviously, he's going to play some experienced guys just to keep the nucleus of the squad. But I think he should try some of the younger boys, because if he doesn't try him in this game, when they're going to get minutes? So I think he should just go for it, because I think they'll play with any fear and they'll be good enough to get through this time.
Davies put in his team yet again. Alan McGregor obviously been rested for him. Cav, Goals and Helander, Borna Barisic, so maybe give Bassey the day off.
Yep.
Sands, Ramsey, Charlie McCann, which should be obviously his first start for Rangers. Ryan Kent, Kemar Roofe and Sakala. I think one of the interesting things that we've seen so far is that most people are giving Morelos the day off, whether that's sitting on the bench or just totally out the squad, in some people's opinions. We've got Louise saying Zakowski should start. He played a couple of the Glasgow Cup games recently, did okay. I think he's still a wee bit vulnerable. I mean, in one of the games we watched him, he was getting taken inside quite a bit. So you wouldn't want that to happen too often in the first team, because it could be a real issue. A fair point, yet again, for CGM. He does make a lot of good points. We don't like to stroke his ego, but he does actually make good points. If Ramsey doesn't start today, when will he start? I think we're all asking that question, mate, to be honest. If he doesn't play, then Lowry has to come in. Yeah, look, I don't think anybody could really can argue that. I think it feels like this is a chance for him to start today. Whether that's maybe just for 60 minutes or 70 minutes, it would be interesting. Another point for CGM, which is a valid one, it was one I was going to bring up. I don't think we risk Balogun because Helander can't play on Thursday. Yeah, I think that is a very good point, because if Balogun was to get injured, it then weakens your options at centre-back, whereas if Helander starts, and Balogun gets the day off, he's then fresh for a Thursday night, which is obviously a massively important game.
Yep.
Stuart Keane, he's got McLaughlin, Zakowski, Golson, Helander, Borna, Ryan Jack, Glenn Kamara, James Sands, Fashion Sakala, Kemar Roofe and Alfredo. That's certainly a very attack-minded lineup. Ryan Jack, I think, could be one that gets a rest today. I think the manager will try and kind of use him sparingly just because of what he's been through. Ian Ross, he's got McGregor, Tav, Golson, Helander, Barisic, Sands, Ramsey, Sakala, Lowry, Roofe and Kent. I actually quite like that team. I like the fact, basically, you've got a front five, and basically it's only Sands that's sitting.
I know.
I mean, without being disrespectful, we're not being disrespectful to Dundee. They're sitting bottom of the league. When you look at the squad players that we can bring in, like Ramsey, Sakala, Roofe, you're not losing a hell of a lot when these guys are coming into the team in a game like this. And it's a great opportunity for the manager to have a look at some other players as well. Nawa Murney, I think that's how you say it. If it's no, I apologise. McLaughlin, Golson, Helander, Bassey, Tav, Barisic, Arfield, Kent, Morelos, Ramsey, Roofe, obviously kind of tweaking the system maybe a wee bit there potentially. What else we got? just trying to click through some. I mean, we'd love to see Tony Weston. Don't actually know who's actually with the squad today for the academy. We would imagine Charlie McCann's there because he did the presser. Alex Lowry and Leon are obviously part of the first team squad anyway. So I would imagine they'll be there or thereabouts. Grant's got McLaughlin, Tavernier, Golson, Helander, Barisic. Interesting that a few people are giving Bassey the day off. I do wonder if that is something the manager's going to look at. Kamara, Ramsey, Lowry, Roofe, Morelos and Kent. Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you on Roofe, Mark. The manager has used him almost non-existent, really, since he's come in. What do you make of that? Do you think that maybe come the summer that somebody like Kemar Roofe will be moving on? Maybe that Gio just doesn't see the same impact that somebody like Gerrard had with him?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a strange one, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that I've said it in previous pods that I think he's a smashing player. I really do. I think he's intelligent. His runs are brilliant. I think his work rate's good, but it's a strange one because at the end of the day, if he doesn't use him, which he's not really been using him, we're really, really reliant on Morelos, and I think that's dangerous for a couple of points. Because obviously it's dangerous that you can't rely on him. He gets injured. You've got a striker there that's not had a lot of game time, and he's not up to speed. So I think that, I don't know, as I said, we're far too reliant on him. But I think he's a smashing player. I can't understand why he's not getting more game time. I mean, even bring him on the last 15 minutes because he's definitely good for a goal. I think he's the best finisher at the club. So it's a very, very strange one. I don't know whether it just doesn't fancy him. Though that way, sometimes a manager comes in and just does not fancy him. I don't know why. I think he's a fantastic player. Hope to see him start today. I think Morelos has more than deserved a rest.
Yeah.
I think he's the last couple of weeks he's absolutely worked his socks off. I mean, the end of that game at midweek there, he was dead in his feet. So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him getting a chance. I think Roofe's the type of player that needs a wee run as well. So I think 2 or 3 games on a pop, at least if I'm getting 20 minutes, 15 minutes, half hours here and there, I think that brings him up to speed.
Yeah.
But as he said, it's a strange one for me.
I'll come to you on the kind of same matter, but maybe tweak it a little bit, Kerr. And, you know, when you look at somebody like Morelos, obviously, like, you can't have somebody that's like for like.
No,
you know
you can't.
You don't have another Morelos, right?
No.
But, like, you've got somebody like Sakala who, obviously, he can do a wee bit of everything, but he can also do a wee bit of nothing in some games. Like, he can come on and just give the ball away constantly, but then he can run at defenders, take them on. You know, the hat-trick he got at Motherwell, he took his chances well. He had a great header at Livingston.
Yeah.
He's obviously somebody that can have an impact with his pace. See, if you're not going to start Roofe today in this kind of game and he starts somebody like sort of Sakala through the middle, do you think that tells you more about how Gio wants to set up on a game-by-game basis, or do you think it's just that he maybe just doesn't see a future for Roofe?
I think every manager comes in and end up with have their favourites, doesn't matter who they manage.
Yeah.
And I think he maybe looks at Roofe and think he doesn't give enough. Like what Gio wants. He likes players who work hard. Gio, I've noticed that. He likes guys who can get about the pitch, put it that way. And he likes like the Ryan Jack, he brought straight back in, didn't he? You've got Lundstram, he's brought in for nowhere, who wasn't getting a game because you see what he offers. I think he likes workmen. He likes players like Bassey who can go up and down the flank. That's how he probably gives Sakala minutes, because you said sometimes he doesn't know what he's doing himself, but he can come on and he can track back, he can get forward. He might the mental see that in Roofe. I don't think Roofe, I know he can play out wide, but he might think he doesn't offer enough out there. Maybe tracking back or being aggressive enough through the middle, he'll score goals. We know his goal scoring rate's really good, Kemar Roofe. But some managers just have fancy different players, and I don't know if he's one of the ones Gio likes. I think maybe I don't know if that was the reason he brought it back. I didn't thought maybe I'll give him a chance, but obviously that never worked out for Cedric, so he's going to Bielski. And I think Kemar, unless it's a big change, I think he could be out the exit door as well. I like him. I think he offers us something totally different, but like Mark said, you can't always put it on Morelos, because if he gets injured at all, God bless you, doesn't he? But if he gets injured, where do we go? Because Gio's using him constantly, but just the system Gio plays, Morelos fits it perfectly. I don't think he thinks Roofe can play that type of game.
I think he can play the 10 as well, but I think if
he can, yeah.
I think he'd be pretty good in there, because I think he likes to play well, really well.
Yeah, he can get in positions that other people don't.
I mean, that's one of the things I was going to bring up today. So, see if we play a back three centre backs, 2 wing backs. Could we go with a front two and play like a 5-3-2? So, like, you've still got your midfield three that are going to also get on the ball, whether that's a Sands, a Kamara, a Lowry, a McCann. But then you've got 2 guys up top that can then work their centre backs. So, you could start Roofe and Sakala. And I think what Roofe does really, really, really well is he's got a great touch.
Yeah.
You know, he can link the play better than Sakala. And Sakala, all right, I know you're not going to get a lot of space in behind in these kind of games because Dundee will defend deep. But Sakala's got the ability to get in behind and maybe stretch the game when we need to do it. Is that something you could see him doing going with the 3 centre-backs today? Or do you think just because it's Dundee, we'll play like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, Mark?
I mean, I don't know. He's starting to sway towards us back three. I dare say Dundee are going to play with one up front, and I don't really think that's enough to occupy 3 centre halves. Different if you've got like Lundstram that's going to step into the midfield, and that's different. But to play 3 out and out centre halves, I think I think it's going to be too much tactically. But I like your way of thinking. I like that possibility of maybe playing 2 up front. I think that could work in future, maybe against different teams. But I don't think I can't see him going 3 at the back because I don't think that Dundee are going to utilise their forwards enough to have a back 3. But as I said, I think that you've got to go a back 4. I think, and there's nothing stopping just playing one holding midfielder either, and maybe playing 2 up front as well. You know what I mean? So that's maybe you could play Roofe as a false 9.
Yeah.
So I mean that's an option as well.
I mean, I like that. Was one of the teams earlier on. We obviously kind of touched on that earlier. So if he plays a 4, so say he plays Tav, Golson, Helander, and whoever plays left back, we'll just say it's Borna.
Yep.
So in that position, you can then just play either James Sands or Kamara. So they're the 1, and then basically the other 5, whoever that 5 is, are basically just going to attack. And that doesn't include your 2 fullbacks who are going to get forward anyway.
Yeah.
So you basically get 7 attacking players in the team and 3 guys that are going to defend your 2 centre backs and your 1 holder. Is that the sort of team that you should be putting out today, Kerr, against Dundee?
Probably, Willie. I think we should attack them because we know they've got a lot of deficiencies that we could get into and score goals. But I don't think Gio's that brave. I personally don't. I think he likes to be more secure. James Sands been in the middle of the park himself. That's a lot asked for a guy. It doesn't matter who it is because the way Kamara's been playing recently, he's been playing more as a 10 at times, isn't he, Kamara?
Yeah.
The way he's played, he's actually played quite well up there, to be fair to him. He actually looks quite good and he gets into injury. Just if he can improve his finish, I know he scored a few goals, but if he finishes and improves even more, he could transform into that type of player because he can hold the ball up and he's getting forward. I don't know. I like the 3 at back. I think we look better with 3 at back. I know where Mark's coming from. Lundstram in the middle, he can pass the ball out and drive out with the ball. I don't know if Sands done that position when he was in the MLS. I don't know if he maybe put him in there and play the same position. I'm not sure, but I like his with 3 at back because I thought when we done it. He done it the other night, didn't he? We started out and then he put Lundstram back and then he brought Lundstram back to midfield after later on. But I think we look good with 3 at back, and I think that's Gio's. I don't know. I still think that's his preferred way to go because I think when we get our full backs pushing really high, we look more. We can create more, we look more attacking.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things, and also we've all kind of touched on it, right? Even though it's 3 centre backs, you're not actually playing 3 centre backs, are you? When Gio plays this system, because basically, if it's Sands or Lundstram, they're basically playing in midfield, but they just drop in.
Yeah.
So, like, you're still actually only playing a back 4 in reality. But when the 2 fullbacks go high, then Sands or Lundstram drop in and make it a 3. So, I mean, it's actually quite a fluid system as long as you're working on it in training. And Lundstram seems to have really kind of worked into it very, very well. And that's something that really surprised me. And something I'll bring to you first, Mark. I mean, this is a wee bit kind of off kilter, I guess, but how crazy is football when probably 2 months ago, if you'd asked any Rangers fan about John Lundstram, we would have probably sold him in the January window, wouldn't we?
100%, yeah. I mean, he was getting slated left, right, and centre. And I made the comment the other night there that his mental strength is something to be commended because as I said, everybody wrote him off. I mean, I'm saying everybody, maybe 90% of people wrote him off. And if he'd have went, even the ones that thought he was all right and thought it was a player in there, but I just went like, do you know what? I can see why he's went. But look, fair play to the boy. As I said, mental strength. He's come back and pretty much he's the first midfielder name in the team sheet at the minute. It's and it's great to see, as I said. But as I said, credit to him because he's obviously got his head down in training and worked his socks off, and obviously he's got his chance and he's took it. So, as I said, I can't say any more good things about him because I think he's done terrific, and as I said, he's probably the first midfield name in the team sheet at the moment.
I mean, I'll just come to you, Kerr. I know we obviously talk about having assets and having players that will bring in money. Is that not the crazy nature of football that in January we would have probably sold Lundstram for maybe £1 million or 1.5, 2 million pounds, whereas now we're looking at Lundstram and saying, well, he's probably one of the key sort of cogs within the team now, and the fact he's got a few years on his contract. I mean, is that not just like a sort of crazy way of how you think about football, that a guy can go from basically being on the outside looking in to now being, well, basically a mainstay in the starting 11 whenever he's fit?
I think it is, and I think he was harshly dealt during when he came in. He played against Malmo and we never get through, and I think he was made the scapegoat, wasn't he, in the defeat? So it's like, well, we brought him in for a big impact, he's not showing it. Gerrard never done him any favours, right enough. He just kind of fell away at the wayside. Like I said, Gio came in and brought him back in. He's not looked back. And like you said, well, he's one of these guys where next season you maybe build your team around about John Lundstram because he offers so much.
Yeah.
He passes the ball. He always looks for the forward pass. He might not always do it, but he looks for the forward ball. His positional sense is great when he's playing in the back three because he doesn't always pick up players, but he marks space, so it makes it difficult for attackers to pass through because he just blocks that avenue between the two centre backs. So I really like him as a player. And he, you know yourself, he's got a bit of aggression that sometimes we don't have in the middle of the park. So no, I think if he wants to stay, then you say it yourself next season, let's blow the team round. Him and Ryan Jack they've revitalised Rangers this season. I don't mean we weren't playing great, but they've gave us a freshness that we never have because it was Kemar in there or Davis, whatever. We looked good, but we never had that. Let's get into them. Do you know that way? So they've done that.
I think the drive that the two of them bring is something that we've been lacking. But also on Lundstram as well, that I think because he played in England and he was English, he's come up here and we've just expected him to hit the ground running, and that's not been the case. And you need to realise that this boy's obviously not played for a club anywhere near the size of Rangers. He's left his family probably and come up the road. Doesn't know the place, doesn't know the area, doesn't know the league. And we've just expected him to get flung in against Malmo and teams like this and expected him just to hit the ground running. And obviously it's took a wee bit, but you can see there's a player there. And obviously he started something's clicked and he started to kick on a wee bit now.
A lot of players take time to settle, but one always go back to his Mark Gately. How long who took him over a season to settle, and he became a legend at the club, and he's one of the probably the best strikers Rangers have ever had through my time watching the Rangers. But the first season at Ibrox, everybody was saying, what have you signed here? He's rotten, but he turned into a phenomenal player. And you said, Mark, people come up here from different countries, playing in different leagues, and it does take them time because it's a new culture for them as well. They have to settle in. And what we only see them in the park, we don't see them away from the parks. You don't know what's going on in their personal life and stuff. So you have to give players time. They just can't all come in and hit the ground running.
Right. I'll come to you first, Mark, just on the starting 11. Who would you start today and how would you set up? Would it be 4-3-3, 3-5-2, whatever? If you tell me your starting 11.
My starting 11, 4-3-3, I would go. Goalkeeper, I would give Shagger a rest.
All right.
Put McLaughlin in there. I'd go Tav, Goldson, probably Hollander. I would give Balogun a rest if I could. As I said, Big Shirley, left back.
All right.
My midfield would be Kamara, probably Sands, and playing the kind of 10 role would be Lowry, I think.
All right, okay.
I would play Sakala on the left, and I would play Diallo on the right, and Roofe up front.
All right. That's quite an interesting 11. It's obviously very attack-minded as well, which is, something I think we do need to do there. I think we really need to press them high and put them under as much pressure. I think the one thing it's shown against Dundee, you put them under pressure and you get an early goal, you could hopefully get a couple of goals ahead and then almost kill the tie off, and then maybe look to utilise the bench a bit more. Kerr, I'll come to you as well, mate. What's your starting 11? Is it going to be much different for Mark's?
I'll go 3 at the back. I would like to play Golson and Hollander with Sands in the middle. Tav and Borna as your wing backs. Kemar in middle with Lowry. And hopefully, I would play, if Ramsey's fit, I would chuck him and Lowry. And I would go with Sakala and Roofe.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, again, I think what we've seen so far for the comments and for what you guys have pointed out, I think we just want to have an attack-minded team today who are just going to go and hit them. I don't think under like Gio we've really played that defensive at any real time, to be honest with you. I know people will say that when you tweak the system and go to like a free centre-back pairing, but to me that's just been smart within games when you're under a wee bit of pressure, that you drop somebody else in to protect what you've got. And we've had to do that against Dortmund, and we obviously did that against Red Star, which is probably still one of the craziest games of football I've seen, I think, in a long time. Because if we start talking about that, we'll be here for hours. Because like the penalties, the offsides, that was crazy. How we came away with a clean sheet in that game still shocks me, to be honest. I mean, like my 11's probably not too dissimilar to you guys. I think it's time to give Alan a break. I would have McLaughlin in goals. I think whenever he plays, he never really does anything wrong. He's a very steady and reliable guy back there. I don't think it really hurts the back line because they know him so well. Zakowski's just not done enough for me personally. I think Tav starts. Helander and Golson just purely to give Balogun a rest because Helander can't play in the European game. Left back's the interesting one. Borna to me still looks quite fragile mentally at times, and I don't know if you want to play him and things go wrong for him because you get the feeling the more that goes wrong, the worse Borna can be mentally. So maybe just sort of keep Bassey in there. I would play Sands today. I just like Sands in that position because he can always drop back in if you need him. Lowry and Ramsey to me would be exciting. I really think that would be exciting. It's almost like having 2 10s in there, like two guys that are going to get forward. And then the front three, I'm giving Morelos a break. I think you play Roofe, Kent, and Jallo. It's no offence to Sakala, but see to have that width with Kent on one side and Jallo on the other, I just think that would be great for Roofe. You see those balls just coming into that box and his movement in the penalty area. I just think he could be devastating today, Roofe, if we get the right quality into his feet. And that's something we continue to go on about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, final score, Mark, what are you thinking in terms of prediction?
I'm going to go 3-0 to the famous.
Okay. Who's going to score?
Roofe is going to score the first, and Lowry and Diallo.
He's went a bet in that.
That would be a good bet, mate. You've probably got a hell of a return on that.
I'm going to be sitting his work next week if I come in. I'm going 3-1, Willie. And Tav first. 3-1 and Tav first goal. I always say Tav.
I think the bookies are starting to gear up on Tav with the first goal.
Penalty. Tav penalty.
Yeah, I think it all comes down with how we start the game. I think sometimes we can be a wee bit slow starting.
Yeah.
And I think if we start slow, then it sometimes takes us a while to get into the game. For me, I think it's important that the manager says, let's go out and blow them away in the first half an hour. You know what I mean? For me, I really think it's a good day for Roofe. And if we do play Jallo and Kent and we can get that ball into his feet, I just think he'll score goals. I mean, like, he's basically averaging, like a goal every second or third game, Roofe. So get him in there. Let's get the ball into the box. Let's hurt them. Let's see what some of the guys are saying in the comments. We have 3-0 to Rangers, Morelos, Roofe and Rambo. 4-0 Rangers win. That would be great if we won 4-0, mate. I'm not going to lie. Nicholas has got Kenty for the first goal. GVB has got 3-0 in Kent. What else we got? Somebody's got down 1-1 in 90 minutes. You know what? I mean, like, anything's possible with us.
Good have, I know.
I mean, you just don't know. And I think Paul's got the 5,000 to 1 shot today, 2-0, and Aaron Ramsey. I would say that if Aaron Ramsey scores today, and he plays well, then he comes into the manager's thoughts, for starting future league games. I think the European games are slightly different at the moment, but I think league games, if Aaron can come on and play well for 60 minutes, it gives the manager a genuine something to think about, doesn't it, Mark?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. We just all want to see him do well, don't we? I mean, that's the thing. He's a big name, he's a big star, and we're just desperate to see him playing football and doing well. And I just hope that, I mean, he's properly running out of time at the moment, and it's quite sad, because I don't really want his career tarnished with the fact that he came to Scotland and never done it. And that, to me, is going to be a big sad, because he's got the potential here to be an absolute legend. You know what will happen? See if he comes on to a game and he plays well and he goes and scores against them. He's quoted for life, isn't he? And you never know. Stranger things have happened. If we get him fit and get him playing, there might be something that they can do for next season. So, but I just think he's running out of time, and it's a crying shame, because, as I said, I think the boys looks. He's done. He came to us for the right reason. He's came to us because he wanted to play football. He's came to us because he wanted to get fit, and he's came to us because of the fans. And he said that when he joined. But it's just one of these. I think it's probably going to end up. It's just going to be a what if, I think.
Yeah, like it does kind of feel that way at the moment. But I think, as we've seen already when we spoke about John Lundstram earlier, and that's kind of one of the reasons I kind of wanted to touch on Ramsey quickly, is that football can change quite quickly, can't it? And a good performance for Aaron Ramsey for the start today obviously changes a lot of things for us. It's another option. If Joe Aribo can't play on Thursday night, if that is the case, potentially, I don't know, we're just kind of guessing at that, then it brings Ramsey into the manager's thoughts. So many things can change off the back of one game.
Yep.
And I think we've seen that with so many Rangers players over the years.
I think about Ramsey as well, it's never his ability you're going to question, it's always his fitness. No. And that's the thing that's been lacking for the last few seasons with him, it's his fitness. Because we all know the ability he's got is he can be world class at times. So it's just getting him fit, and that Mark said, he is running out of time. I don't think if he doesn't play today, at any point, I feel we might not see him in the Rangers shirt at all, because I just think we're running out of time, and it's a shame.
What's the thing? You've obviously got like the split coming up, which are obviously 5 monumental games. Their 5 games probably decide who's winning the league realistically. Yeah. So to put somebody in that's not played a couple of 90 minutes by that point would be a big risk. The European games are only going to get tougher, aren't they, realistically? If we're fortunate enough to get by Red Star, you're going to come up against another high-quality team. So to then throw Ramsey into that, again, would be, absolutely monstrous. So you do feel like today is a big day for Aaron if he does start. I think, the one thing is we've kind of touched on a few times, a lot of people in the comments obviously want to see him start. They want to see, because at the end of the day, when we signed him, there was a huge amount of excitement about getting Aaron Ramsey. And clearly because of injury or whatever, if it's just niggles in training, until he actually shows that he can play for 90 minutes or that he can perform for a good period of a game, people are going to criticise Ross Wilson and they're going to criticise the signing. And that's how football works, isn't it? Like, so you either make the right decision or you make the wrong decision. 2 months ago, Lundstram was a terrible signing, and it was all Ross Wilson's fault and Gerrard's fault. And now people are praising Ross Wilson for it and Gerrard. So, you know what I mean? That's how football turns. But I think the big thing, we just want to see us get through today, hopefully get a couple of goals, win comfortably. We're not sitting on the edge of our seat in the last 10 minutes holding on to a 1-0, because it still doesn't make you feel any better after all these years.
No.
Right, I think that will kind of do is, because obviously a lot of guys will want to go and get a beer or whatever before the game starts. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Much appreciated.
Just before you go, Molly, just for the boys in the comments, see if they can work out what today's word was. Stick it in the comments below.
and guys, it's no salmon, all right. He never said salmon. It's no salmon this time. Appreciate all the comments as always. It'll be myself that's back on for the reaction, because Martin, I don't know what Martin's up to, but he's disappeared again. So I'll be on for the reaction. Hopefully it's a comfortable Rangers win and we can all be quite chirpy in the comments. And we'll see you all again probably in about 5 hours or so. So see you all again, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you all again soon.